So I made a top 11 Zelda games list, and that made me think, well, maybe I should make a bottom 5 Zelda games list. Again, all these games are really good, and they're all really fun, but somebody has to be the worst. And this is the list that I think is the worst Zelda games. At number 5, it's technically 2 games. I have Four Swords and Four Swords Adventures. Now, I think these games are really fun, but Four Swords Adventures on the GameCube, by yourself, it's just not really the full experience. And Four Swords, I feel like you actually need other people to play with. And that makes it really hard for these games to be fully enjoyed because you might not have 3 other friends to play with. The mechanics are fun. I think that it was cool that you have the Game Boy and the GameCube kind of working in tandem to have that like interaction, and then you can kind of mess around with your friends. But these games kind of remind me more of a couch co-op party game rather than a Zelda adventure game. While still fun, I have them at 5. At number 4, I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this one. I have A Link to the Past. Look, it's a really good game, but I think for me, at this point in Zelda's canon, there's just better games. And while we can appreciate what Link to the Past did, pushing the franchise forward, I think that it's just not as fun as some of its more modern counterparts are. I think the game feels pretty clunky. I think that it might be a little bit too hard, and this comes from somebody who definitely enjoys a challenge in a video game. I think that like if I were a kid, I probably would not be able to beat this game. I don't know how people did in the past. But I still think it's really fun. I think it's a good story. But somebody's got to be at the bottom. So I have A Link to the Past. At 2 and 3, I have Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass. Spirit Tracks at 3 and Phantom Hourglass at 2. So I think with both of these games, Spirit Tracks improved on a lot of the little things that Phantom Hourglass got wrong, but I think both games in general still really struggle with gimmicks. I think that Nintendo took a big leap and that they should be applauded for that in like incorporating the DS's hardware into the gameplay, but I think it gets pretty tiring when you have to like yell into the mic or fold your DS or spin things around, or it's just it's too gimmicky. I think that it's a good story. I think the introduction of Linebeck is one of their best like side characters. I think Linebeck is super funny. I think the games could have shined more brightly if you could just have regular controls with a D-pad and swinging your sword with A or B or whatever, because that would feel more classic. There was plenty of times when you're in combat with like a more powerful enemy and you're trying to move your stylus around with the little boomerang, and then you're just getting hit and then knocked into the water, and it's just not fun. I don't think that the game's skill gap should be how bad the hardware is, but how hard the combat is. I think both these games really struggle with that. It still had some fun puzzles, and they're unique in that you have to use the touchscreen and some of these other hardware gimmicks. But overall, I have them at the 2 second lowest spots. And then at number 1, the worst Zelda game in the franchise, to me, is Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. First, let me say, this is actually the only Zelda game that I haven't been able to beat. So maybe I have a personal vendetta against it, but I don't think it's that fun. I think the fact that it's kind of a Metroidvania game kind of takes me out of the Zelda world. And it had some interesting things with its combat, with the ducking and standing mechanic where you're trying to hit things differently, but it's just like, is this what every Nintendo 64 or Nintendo 64? Every NES game was supposed to be like, I don't want to be playing a 2D side-scrolling adventure. I think even though The Legend of Zelda, Zelda 1, was limited with its hardware, it was still fun in that you're having a grand adventure. With the Adventures of Link, it just feels too linear, and I don't want to play that game in a Zelda franchise. At the time, of course, they only had the two, right? We only had Zelda 1 and Zelda 2. And then I guess they decided, hey, Zelda 2, we don't really like that either, which I think was for the best, because if they had stuck with that, what differentiates it from Metroid or Castlevania? Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you got some enjoyment out of the list, or maybe a laugh. If you want to argue about it with me, please feel free. I'm happy to hear what you think about your bottom 5 Zelda games as well. If you haven't and you'd like to, please consider subscribing, because it would mean the world for me. World to me. Wow, I'm really struggling with words today. I hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you again soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.